You're holding a warm slice in your hand, the scent of butter and crust filling the kitchen, and yet each bite may be quietly eroding the very health you worked so hard to protect. Imagine that simple loaf turning into a slow-acting toxin for your heart, your joints, even the sharpness of your memory. What if I told you that 4 everyday breads are doing exactly that, and that the solution is as easy as swapping one ingredient for another? Stay with me because the next few minutes could change the way you eat for the rest of your life. I'm Dr. Anna Martinez, a geriatric nutritionist with 2 decades of research on how food shapes the aging body. My work has appeared in leading journals on nutrition and longevity, and I've spent countless mornings in kitchens and clinics watching seniors rediscover vitality through smarter choices. Why do we focus on bread? Because it's a staple that carries hidden power. The refined grains, the added sugars, the sodium, and preservatives. Each of these can trigger chronic inflammation, cause spikes in blood glucose, and accelerate the wear and tear that comes with age. Picture a graph where a single slice of white bread sends your blood sugar soaring, then crashing, leaving you fatigued and your cells under stress. That roller coaster is a silent driver of arterial plaque, joint stiffness, and even cognitive decline. In this video, we'll first expose the 4 breads that are silently sabotaging you, then we'll celebrate the 4 that should be on your plate every day. Let's begin with the villains. If you've ever felt a midday slump after a carb-heavy breakfast, tap that like button now. Your feedback helps bring more science-backed tips to seniors just like you. First on the list is the classic white enriched loaf you see in almost every supermarket aisle. It's the soft, fluffy bread, often labeled white enriched or soft touch. The problem lies in its refined grain content. Refined flour is stripped of fiber and nutrients, causing rapid glucose spikes. Those spikes trigger an insulin surge, which not only promotes fat storage, but also speeds up cellular aging. Low fiber also means your gut microbiome loses diversity, paving the way for low-grade inflammation that can aggravate arthritis and even impair immune response. So what should you do? Avoid any loaf that lists white flour as the first ingredient. Instead, reach for whole grain alternatives. Look for whole wheat, spelt, or rye as the primary grain. These options provide fiber that slows sugar absorption, reduces inflammation, and supports a healthier gut. Second, the baguette-style French bread, the long, crusty loaf that often sits fresh on bakery shelves. Its appeal is undeniable, but its glycemic index is almost as high as pure glucose, meaning it sends blood sugar soaring almost instantly. Moreover, a typical baguette offers little in the way of vitamins or minerals, while delivering a dose of sodium that can strain blood pressure. For seniors, that combination can increase the risk of osteoporosis as the body loses calcium while excess sodium leaches it from bones. The practical step here is simple. Skip the daily baguette. If you crave that crunchy crust, replace it with a slice of seeded rye bread, which adds minerals like magnesium and zinc while keeping the glycemic response gentler. Third, the packaged multigrain bread that dazzles with colorful grain images on the wrapper. It sounds wholesome, but most of these loaves hide a truth. The grain list is buried in fine print, and the primary grain is often still refined wheat. Manufacturers add a handful of seeds or oats for marketing flair, yet the overall fiber content remains low, and hidden sugars keep the glycemic load high. This deceptive combination can keep blood glucose elevated for hours, feeding chronic inflammation and contributing to insulin resistance, a key driver of type 2 diabetes in older adults. To protect yourself, read the ingredient list carefully. If the first 3 ingredients are any form of wheat flour, it's best to avoid it even if multigrain appears in the name. Choose breads where whole grains appear first and where added sugars are minimal or absent. Fourth, the sweetened dinner roll, often brushed with honey, sugar, or butter before baking. Its soft, golden exterior masks a hidden load of added sugars and saturated fats. Those sugars cause rapid glucose spikes, while the saturated fat can raise low-density lipoprotein cholesterol, a major risk factor for heart disease. For seniors, that combination can accelerate arterial plaque buildup, making heart attacks more likely. The rule of thumb, steer clear of any roll that lists sugar, honey, or syrup among the top 5 ingredients. Opt instead for plain whole grain rolls, or better yet, make your own at home using whole grain flour, a dash of olive oil, and no added sweeteners. Now that we've uncovered the 4 breads that should be banished from your daily meals, think about how many of these you might already have in your pantry. Which one surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm eager to hear which loaf you'll be swapping out first. If this revelation is opening your eyes, consider subscribing so you won't miss the upcoming segment where we'll explore the 4 breads that can actually boost your muscle strength, sharpen your mind, and protect your heart every single day. Remember, the choices you make at the breakfast table echo through every system in your body. By eliminating these hidden threats, you're already taking a powerful step toward a healthier, more vibrant life. Now that we have cleared the table of the hidden saboteurs, let us turn our attention to the allies that can truly nourish you every day. Imagine a loaf that not only satisfies the craving for something warm and comforting, but also works quietly in the background to keep your muscles strong, your mind sharp, and your heart resilient. In the next segment, we will explore 4 breads that belong on your plate each and every day, and we will see exactly how they support the aging body, plus simple steps you can take right now to make them a regular part of your meals. First, consider the sprouted grain loaf that you might find tucked in the health aisle of a grocery store. Its name alone hints at something special. The grains have been allowed to germinate or sprout before they are milled into flour. This tiny biological event unlocks a cascade of benefits. When a seed begins to sprout, enzymes are activated that break down complex starches into simpler sugars, which in turn makes the carbohydrate more digestible and reduces the post-meal glucose surge. For seniors, a lower glycemic response means less insulin demand and a slower rate of glycation, the process that stiffens proteins and contributes to arterial stiffening and joint wear. Moreover, sprouting increases the bioavailability of vitamins such as B complex and vitamin C, and it boosts the content of minerals like magnesium and zinc, both of which are crucial for bone health and immune function. The fiber in sprouted grain is also partially pre-digested, providing a gentle prebiotic effect that feeds beneficial gut bacteria, thereby reducing chronic inflammation that underlies many age-related conditions. So how can you make sprouted grain a daily habit? Look for loaves that list sprouted whole wheat or sprouted oat as the first ingredient, and avoid those that hide sprouted grains behind a list of refined flours. If you enjoy toast in the morning, try spreading a thin layer of avocado or a modest amount of nut butter on a slice of sprouted grain toast. Then sprinkle a pinch of sea salt and a few cracked peppercorns. That combination delivers healthy fats, protein, and the complex carbohydrates you need to start the day without the crash that follows a sugary breakfast. For those who love sandwiches, a sprouted grain roll can replace the standard white bun, giving you a sturdier base that holds up to fillings while still delivering the micronutrient boost. And if you feel adventurous, you can even bake your own sprouted grain loaf at home. Just soak whole kernels overnight, blend them into a batter, and bake as you would regular bread. The effort is modest, the reward is substantial, and the result is a loaf that truly works for you. Second, let us examine the classic whole grain rye, a staple in many European kitchens and increasingly popular among health-conscious diners. Rye differs from wheat in several key ways that make it especially friendly to the aging digestive system. Its fiber profile is dominated by soluble fibers, notably arabinoxylans, which form a gel-like matrix in the gut. This gel slows the absorption of glucose, flattening the post-meal blood sugar curve and keeping insulin levels steady. For an older adult, that stability translates into reduced risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, conditions that can accelerate cognitive decline and vascular disease. In addition, the soluble fiber binds bile acids, prompting the liver to use more cholesterol to replace them, thereby lowering circulating low-density lipoprotein cholesterol. Over time, this mechanism helps keep arterial plaques from from expanding, supporting cardiovascular health. Rye also contains lignans, plant compounds that have mild estrogen-like activity, which can be beneficial for bone density in postmenopausal women. Practical ways to incorporate rye into your daily routine are simple and versatile. A slice of dense rye bread toasted with a thin spread of low-fat cheese and a few slices of cucumber makes an excellent mid-morning snack that balances protein, fat, and complex carbs. For lunch, consider a rye-based open-faced sandwich, layer smoked salmon, a dollop of Greek yogurt, and fresh dill on a rye slice, and you have a meal rich in omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, and the gut-friendly fibers of rye. If you prefer soups, a wedge of rye can be served alongside a hearty vegetable broth, soaking up the flavors while adding texture. And for those who bake, swapping a portion of wheat flour for rye flour in your favorite muffin recipe will boost the nutritional profile without compromising taste. Remember, the key is to choose rye that is labeled whole grain rye rather than rye flour blend, because the latter often contains added refined wheat that dilutes the benefits. Third on our list is the traditional sourdough made with whole grain flour, a bread that has been celebrated for centuries for its distinctive tang and its unique fermentation process. The magic of sourdough lies in the symbiotic relationship between wild yeast and lactic acid bacteria, which together create an environment that slowly breaks down gluten proteins and phytates. This natural fermentation reduces the anti-nutrient load, allowing minerals such as iron, calcium, and zinc to be absorbed more efficiently. For seniors, improved mineral absorption can help maintain bone density and support muscle function, both of which tend to decline with age. Additionally, the lactic acid bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids, especially acetate and lactate, which have been shown to modulate the immune response and lower systemic inflammation. The slower rise of sourdough also means that the dough's glycemic index is lower than that of standard yeasted breads, offering a gentler rise in blood glucose after a meal. How can you make sourdough a reliable component of your daily diet? First, seek out breads that list whole grain flour and sourdough starter among the top ingredients and avoid those that mask the process with additives like dough conditioners or excessive sugar. A slice of sourdough toasted lightly and topped with a thin spread of ricotta, a drizzle of honey, and a sprinkling of toasted walnuts provides a balanced mix of protein, healthy fats, and the low glycemic carbohydrates you need for sustained energy. If you are a fan of savory meals, try a sourdough baguette cut in half, filled with roasted vegetables, a handful of arugula, and a smear of hummus. The fermentation will help the body handle the legumes in the hummus, reducing any bloating that sometimes follows a bean-rich dish. For breakfast, simply dip a piece of sourdough in a warm bowl of bone broth, an old-world practice that combines the gut-soothing qualities of broth with the mineral-enhancing power of sourdough. And if you enjoy baking, consider making your own starter at home. A small amount of whole grain flour and water left to ferment for a few days yields a living culture that can be kept indefinitely, giving you control over the quality of every loaf you bake. Finally, let us celebrate the seed-rich multi-grain loaf that truly lives up to its name. A bread that combines whole grains with a generous sprinkle of seeds, such as flax, chia, sunflower, and pumpkin. Each seed brings a distinct bundle of nutrients to the table. Flax seeds are an excellent source of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 that supports brain health and reduces inflammatory markers. Chia seeds add soluble fiber and calcium, both of which are essential for maintaining vascular elasticity and bone strength. Sunflower seeds contribute vitamin E, a potent antioxidant that protects cell membranes from oxidative damage, while pumpkin seeds supply magnesium and zinc, minerals that play key roles in muscle contraction and immune regulation. When these seeds are embedded in a whole grain matrix, the combined effect is a synergistic boost to cardiovascular health, cognitive function, and musculoskeletal resilience. Putting this seed-laden bread into practice is straightforward. Look for loaves that list whole grain oats, whole grain barley, or whole grain spelt together with a visible coating of mixed seeds, and avoid those that hide the seeds under a thin glaze of sugar or oil. A slice of this multigrain bread, toasted and brushed lightly with extra virgin olive oil, then topped with a poached egg and a scatter of microgreens, supplies high-quality protein, healthy fats, and the antioxidant-rich seeds that together support memory formation and muscle repair. For an afternoon snack, spread a modest amount of almond butter on a piece of the seed loaf and add a few slices of fresh banana. The natural sweetness pairs well with the nutty flavor of the seeds, creating a satisfying bite without a spike in blood sugar. If you enjoy salads, crumble a few pieces of the multigrain bread over mixed greens. The toasted crumbs add texture while the seeds continue to deliver their micronutrient payload throughout the day. And for those who wish to bake, incorporating a handful of mixed seeds into a homemade whole grain pizza crust yields a crunchy, nutrient-dense base that can be topped with tomato sauce, low-fat cheese, and a variety of vegetables for a balanced dinner. At this point, you may be wondering how to weave all 4 of these powerhouse breads into a realistic weekly plan without feeling overwhelmed. The answer lies in variety and moderation, 2 principles that are especially important as we age. Aim to include at least 1 slice of a sprouted grain loaf at breakfast 3 to 4 times a week. Rotate a rye slice into your lunch routine 2 to 3 times. Enjoy a piece of whole grain sourdough with dinner once or twice. And keep a seed-rich multi-grain slice as a snack or light meal on the days when you need an extra boost of energy. By staggering the breads across the week, you ensure a continuous supply of diverse fibers, minerals, and healthy fats, while also keeping your palate interested and your meals enjoyable. Remember, the goal is not to force yourself into a rigid schedule, but to create a flexible pattern that naturally integrates these nutrient-dense options into the meals you already love. Now let's pause for a moment and reflect on the impact these choices can have on the bigger picture of healthy aging. When you replace a refined white slice with a sprouted grain piece, you are lowering the daily glycemic load, which translates into fewer insulin spikes, reduced oxidative stress, and a slower rate of cellular aging. Adding whole grain rye means you are feeding your gut bacteria the soluble fiber they need to produce short-chain fatty acids, compounds that have been shown to protect the lining of the colon and modulate inflammation throughout the body. Embracing sourdough introduces beneficial bacteria that help your digestive system extract more nutrients from the food you eat, while also supporting a healthier lipid profile that keeps arteries clear. Finally, the seed-rich multigrain loaf supplies a spectrum of essential fatty acids and antioxidants that protect brain cells from age-related decline, helping you stay mentally agile and emotionally balanced. These scientific mechanisms are not abstract concepts. They manifest in everyday outcomes that you can feel. You may notice steadier energy throughout the day, fewer episodes of sluggishness after meals, clearer thinking during conversations, and a more comfortable joint movement when you take a walk in the park. Over time, these incremental improvements compound, leading to a higher quality of life, greater independence, and the confidence to pursue activities you love. Whether that's gardening, playing with grandchildren, learning a new instrument, or simply enjoying a book on a sunny porch. Before we close, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 4 breads are you most excited to add to your pantry? Have you already been enjoying any of them? And if so, what positive changes have you observed? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story could inspire someone else to make a simple yet powerful shift in their diet. And if you found this information useful, please give the video a thumbs up. It tells the platform that you value evidence-based health guidance, and it helps more seniors discover these vital tips. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. By doing so, you'll receive future videos that dive deeper into nutrition, movement, and mental wellness tailored specifically for the over 60 community. Each episode is crafted to translate the latest research into clear, actionable steps so you can keep making informed choices without feeling overwhelmed by scientific jargon. To wrap up, let's summarize the key takeaways. First, eliminate the refined white loaf, the high glycemic baguette, the deceptive multi-grain packaged bread, and the sweetened dinner roll that hides sugars and saturated fats. Second, welcome into your diet the sprouted grain loaf for its enzyme-enhanced nutrients and gentle glucose response, the whole grain rye for its soluble fiber cholesterol-lowering effect, and bone-supporting lignans, the traditional sourdough made with whole grain flour for its mineral, unlocking fermentation and immune-modulating bacteria, and the seed-rich multigrain loaf for its blend of omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and minerals that protect heart, brain, and muscles. Third, apply the practical tips we discussed, reading ingredient lists, choosing breads where whole grains appear first, pairing slices with healthy fats and proteins, and rotating the varieties throughout the week. By following this roadmap, you are actively reducing inflammation, stabilizing blood sugar, supporting vascular health, and nurturing the gut microbiome, 3 pillars that together sustain vitality in the later chapters of life. Remember, every bite is an opportunity to either accelerate or decelerate the aging process. Choose the breads that empower you and let each slice be a small but meaningful step toward a stronger, clearer, and more energetic you. Thank you for watching, and until our next conversation, stay curious, stay nourished, and keep thriving.